She's so beautiful. He's so smart and organized. She's so young and successful.
Blah blah blah. Stop comparing yourself to others all the time. We compare ourselves to others all the time. And even though there's nothing bad in healthy comparison, but the thing is that most of us compare ourselves to others obsessively in an unhealthy manner. I will say that there is two kinds of comparison occurring very often. One kind of comparison where you're comparing yourself from a place of lack. Oh, they have it better. And the second kind of where you're trying to convince yourself that you're doing better than others. Oh yes, I'm doing better than others, which are both equally destructive and are just a sign of the disbalance of your inner world. And personally, I think the reason we have this is the unconscious lives we live and how rarely we actually stop to think and appreciate things we already have. We constantly look at others because it's easier. It's easier to look outside than inside. It's like a collective disease, and honestly, I don't know when does this switch happen, because when we are kids, we're just happy as we are and who we are, and we are embracing ourselves for all hundreds. But then at some point there's this point when the switch happens and we start to hate ourselves, thinking we're not good enough. We start to compete, and the focus from ourselves switches to others. What are they doing? How are they doing? How much do they earn? How pretty are they? How successful are they? And then when the focus switches to ourselves,
Me? I'm not good enough.
or me? Oh, I'm doing better than them. And while I was planning this video, I also got interested in the question, why do we compare ourselves to others? Because I never thought about it. Have you? So I decided to Google it, and this is what Google explained me. Comparison is a normal process of human cognition and can be beneficial for self-improvement. When we compare ourselves to others, we get information on how do we want to live a life, where do we want to be, how do we want to be, and that information is supposed to be valuable for us to develop ourselves and proceed further in our life. However, it can also cause a lot of psychological pain. Very right about that one. Well, I do agree with this to some point, but most of the comparison going on in the society is harmful and toxic to the individual, and I'm going to explain myself in this video. No matter the position in a society, everyone compares themselves to others more or less. Heck, I was watching Pamela Reif's stories, I think everyone knows who she is, and she had this question session going on in her stories, and someone asked her a question. Do you ever compare yourselves to others? Do you know what she answered? Sometimes I do, but I prefer to compare myself into my previous versions of myself, which is an excellent answer from an elaborate person. This is just a living proof that occasional comparison may still occur even among the best of us, which is inevitable, but how do we stop the excessive comparison with other people? I woke up to this question when I was doing something. I actually don't remember what was I doing, but it was like a moment of self-gratitude just hit me. I was like having this moment of positive self-talk and appreciation towards what I already have. I'm this person who very often lives in the future. I need to have this, I need to achieve this, and so on in order to be happy. But then sometimes, very rarely, I have these moments as if someone from above is sending me a wake-up call or something. Wake up, you ungrateful child! And then it's in these moments when I realize that how privileged I actually am, how much have I done and achieved already, and that how destructive the comparison to others actually is. Because all that time you're spending comparing yourself to others, you're not appreciating yourself at all. When you're comparing yourself to others and not looking at what you already have, you also take so much for granted. For example, if you're healthy and you have energy, do you know how many people would give everything in order to have that? You can have it, take it. For example, someone who has to walk to work every day will give up everything for a bike, and someone with a bike will give up everything for a car, and someone with a car will be happier without it because it's a burden as well. There is a lot of maintenance and insurances and all of that stuff that comes with a car. So it's never good, and it never will be 100% good. You will never be enough, and that's fine. So that's why I think it's very important to become conscious and aware of your life and what you already have. So yes, I'm saying it. Stopping comparison goes hand in hand with practicing gratitude, being more self-aware and appreciating what you already have, being proud of yourself Because you're doing such a great job and you've come this far to compare yourself with others? So yes, this moment of gratitude served me as a wake-up call. Because not only that it made me more proud of myself, but it also forced me to really think of the question, how do you stop the everyday comparison that's actually going on even unconsciously behind the scenes without you necessarily even thinking about it? How do you stop constantly looking at what others have, and how do you start looking more at yourself and start actually embracing yourself? Well, let's start with getting this into your head. You are you and your story is unique. It is not worth for comparison. Comparison is when you think you're less because you're not someone else. Do you hear that? You think you're less because you're not someone else. And then instead of creating your unique path, which will then ultimately result in success, we let it be altered by others. Because each time when you're comparing yourself with the outside instead of the inside, others leave a footprint on your path. Let's say you have very clear vision for your life, dreams and goals. Like you figured it out and it's clear as glass. But then you get caught up in comparison. And that glass clear vision that you had for yourself gets now fingerprints on it. Do you understand? Comparison also destroys personality and any kind of uniqueness. Have you not noticed how every successful person, whether it be a content creator, a scientist, businesswoman or a man, they always have their own unique thing? Content creators have their own unique style. Successful scientists always research their own thing and then make world-changing findings. And then the successful business people always have their own unique sales strategy, their own unique way to do business, or they have some unique innovation. Notice, they're unique. They are them. They're not searching for answers in others, they're searching for answers from inside. They embrace the qualities they have, not what others have. Comparison focuses on how to keep up with others, not on what the universe has in store for you. And then the really dangerous thing about comparison is that when we compare ourselves to others, we compare to the parts we see, but we never see the whole picture of someone's life. So often the thing we're comparing ourselves to isn't even real, it is fake because it's a false picture we're comparing ourselves to. And then based on this false picture, we make ourselves feel bad because we are not like them or we don't have what they have. But all you're actually comparing yourself to is an illusion of what you think they have. Comparison also creates this competition which doesn't exist in the first place. Never compare yourself with others. Never ever do that because you're comparing yourself to someone who already made it. You're comparing your start with someone's middle. Because let's be honest, do you ever compare yourself with someone who has less than you? Do you? I don't think so. You never do that. We only compare ourselves to someone who has it better than us, who has more, is more successful, and lives the dream. It is a good motivation to some extent, I agree, but very often it goes over the border. And then instead of getting this healthy amount of motivation, you freeze. For example, I will tell you one story about a psychologist. She just graduated university and she started working in her field. And after working a few weeks in the field, she started to feel that she's not enough, she's not good enough, and she started to dislike her job. Do you know why? Because she was comparing herself with professionals who have been in that field already for 10 years. So she, as someone who just graduated university, compared herself with professionals who have been in the field already for 10 years. And this is where it usually goes very wrong and is extremely destructive, because we start to compare ourselves with someone who is completely on another level. When that person you're comparing yourself with started, they were on your level as well. They were where you are now when they started. So if we take this story that I just told you with the psychologists, these professionals were also people who just graduated university and started working. And the reason why they succeeded in their thing is because they didn't let the comparison to freeze them. They were actually humble enough to understand that building your dream life is not this glamorous overnight success. That doesn't exist. It will require humiliation, dedication, and self-belief in the beginning. And what is more is that I would appreciate it so much if you would give this video a like, if you have found this video valuable so far, because it will help the algorithm to push this video further for more people. Thank you. But seriously now, when you make the switch from being obsessed with what others are doing and how are they doing, you become obsessed with yourself and your success instead. And that is probably the most resourceful state to be in, because you drop all the need to prove something to someone. You let go of the concept of time and you peacefully accept that your things will go in their own pace. Your development goes in its own timeline, and no one else is you and you're no one else. Who are you? You can't be me. No one has denied your dreams from you as long as you just show up for them. Accept that your life is yours and everything in your life goes in its own pace, in its own development. But if you spend too much time comparing yourself to others, the danger there is that you will never reach your true potential. Because instead of doing and working for your own life, walking your own path, you're just laying in a frozen lake where you cannot get out of. And I understand that accepting this can be bitter, but it is also extremely peaceful and freeing. You've already done so many great things. Isn't that enough for you? I get it. I totally get it that we humans have to constantly evolve in order to be better. But the best development happens when you're comparing yourself to your past versions of you, not to others. If you're constantly comparing yourself to others, you can end up living very unfulfilled life because your motive for every action you take comes from outside instead of the inside. So here's my advice for you if your comparison comes from a place of lack. I have a question for you. What stops you from living that life as well? You can have it too. Just go and get it. When you compare to assure that you're doing better than others, I have a question for you as well. Are you doing what you're doing for yourself or for your ego? Are you doing it for me, baby? If it's for the latter, then you really need to sit around the table with yourself. Otherwise, you'll end up unhappy. If you don't have these moments of gratitude, appreciation, and self-awareness from time to time, on a regular basis preferably, you'll end up chasing your happiness and life as someone on a running mat who has a goal hanging in front of their eyes but they never reach it. Because that's exactly how it is when you're constantly running after something new without stopping to appreciate what you already achieved. Because once you achieve one thing, you already think of the next thing, and you're constantly in this closed circle running after something like a hamster in a wheel, and it is extremely unfulfilling because it's never enough. I personally don't want to wake up at the end of my life and realize that I spent all my life in some kind of a fog, blindly chasing my dreams and goals and never stopping to give credit for them. And remember, you are amazing the way you are. You are a special human being with a unique set of skills and qualities, and for your own happiness, fulfillment, and success, you need to learn to see them, appreciate them, and embrace them. There is always enough space for everyone to shine. Here's one quote I want to read for you. The source is unknown, and it goes like this. There is no comparison between the sun and the moon. They shine when it's their time. Isn't it beautiful? Thank you so much for watching this video, and if your comparison turns into jealousy, you need to see this video. Thank you. Bye bye.